Hello, and welcome to Nuts About Baseball, a podcast that will entertain you with discussions involving everything baseball. I'm your host, Joe Grimme, and I appreciate you joining me. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as I share my passion for the sport we call America's pastime. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Nuts About Baseball. I am your host, Joe Grimme, and today I am joined by the varsity head coach for the girls softball team at Highlands High School, Milt Horner. Milt, thanks for coming and welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Joe. Good to talk to you.
Absolutely. We've talked several times before. You've been a guest here another time, and I appreciate you returning. We're going to talk today about you and how you've kind of progressed throughout your career coaching-wise, and then we'll get a little bit of some insight about the Highlands program and, maybe relive a little bit of last year. But let's start out with you. We're going to go back, I won't say way back in the day, because I know you're a young chap just like me. When did you first kind of develop your love for either the sport of baseball or softball? I don't want to assume anything, but I would imagine it's baseball because as a young boy, there weren't many softball opportunities for you.
Certainly no softball opportunities. I guess I fell in love with baseball watching the Reds at Crosley Field. I remember going there many, many times. My aunt was a big Reds fan, and I remember being at the at opening day. I guess it would have been like 1964, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of rain. Tommy Helms was a rookie that year.
Okay.
And Pete Rose. And Tommy Helms at Crosley Field under the stands, the players walked right by this fence when you could actually talk to them. I got Pete Rose and Tommy Helms autograph that day.
Wow. That's a jackpot.
No, definitely a jackpot. So I kept score at Reds games, learning the game, played Fort Thomas Junior League, Campbell County Knothole, and then played for Highlands for 4 years.
Okay. Who was your coach at Highlands?
Bob Kopich.
Okay. What position did you play there?
I ended up playing center field.
How was the team back in the day when you were at Highlands?
We actually made the state tournament in 1973, which I think was only the second time that Highlands had done that.
Okay.
So we had a solid team for a couple of years, and in that year we put it all together.
Do you still keep in contact with some of the players that you played with these days?
I do. Have remained friends with several of them. Bob Kopich actually came to our high school reunion a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
So I got to spend some time with him, actually ate dinner with him and relived some of that year. He actually also coached me in middle school basketball and high school football. So and was my 7th grade math teacher. So he was a big influence on me as a young man, as a coach. And I think I've probably taken a lot of my basic coaching philosophy from the way he coached me.
Yeah. Who are some of those others that may have influenced you growing up to stick with the sport and or get into coaching?
Well, I think when you're an athlete in high school, your high school coaches have an outsized influence on you just because it's so important to you as a person growing up to be. Mike Murphy was my high school football coach. I remember Dennis Bradford as a freshman football coach. Some of my knothole coaches that were taking the time to help young boys grow into men. So I think that was just in general. I think Bob was probably the most influential, but there were others that played a role.
Yeah. When did you first get into coaching, whether it be baseball or softball? And which one was it?
Well, actually, my sister, who is 7 years younger than me, was playing in the Fort Thomas Junior League, probably as a junior and senior. So I was like 23 or 24, and they needed a coach. So I coached her for a couple of years, and that was my first real foray into coaching.
Wow.
That was, not a big coaching job. It was more of an organizational job.
Sure.
Then I really didn't do any coaching until my kids started playing sports.
Okay. So you coached them in the youth leagues?
Yes.
Okay.
And I coached softball. I coached some soccer. I coached basketball. and also some football when my son was in the junior football league.
Yeah. So do you have how many kids?
3 kids,
Girls, boys?
girl, boy.
All right. So which did you really enjoy the most? Not child wise, but sport wise growing up, or as your kids grew up through the different sports that they've played?
I felt like I could probably coach football and then baseball and subsequently softball the best, just because I understood the skills required better. And it's a little bit easier when you've done them yourself
Yeah.
to be able to try to communicate that to somebody else.
At some point, you were given an opportunity to coach for pay, and I know it's not much pay because coaches out there do not get paid enough. It's probably not even the equivalent to minimum wage these days. But when was your first offer to get a salary for what you did?
Well, I coached as an assistant coach at Highlands for a long time as a volunteer, so the pay was totally inconsequential. I started coaching, helping coach at Highlands when my oldest daughter was a freshman, which would have been the year 2000.
Okay.
This is really, we ended up playing a JV season that year because the slow pitch was still predominant in Northern Kentucky anyway.
Mhm.
And so we moved to fast pitch in 2001. So since 2020 didn't really happen, this is our 25th anniversary and our 25th season of fast pitch at Highlands.
That is unbelievable. I mean, I know time flies and I say it all the time, but my jaw just dropped when you said fast pitch started 25 years ago.
Yeah, the KHSAA, I think, actually had fast pitch in 1995, was the first year it was a sanctioned sport. Highlands and much of Northern Kentucky was farther behind that. My daughter actually kind of fell in love with fast pitch watching it during the 96 Olympics. And that's kind of what got me started in fast pitch. And I found a couple leagues for them, she and a couple of her friends to play in. And that's kind of the 30 year ago start for me.
You know, I have trouble remembering what I did last week, and I'm going to ask you to hopefully recollect something 25 years ago. Tell me a little bit about how you, as a program at Highlands, and just colleagues around the area, even jumped into adapting to the fast pitch world. What was it like, and what are some of the things that you did to become accustomed to the new style of the game?
Well, believe it or not, I actually played intramural fast pitch in college in the 70s.
Well, really?
So I had at least experienced it. Not that I knew how to pitch or anything like that,
Yeah,
but I had at least experienced the game. Back then, it was ordering VHS tapes, watching them. I found a couple local clinics that I went
yeah,
to just try to get my arms around some strategies. Developing pitching is one of the hardest things to do.
sure.
My daughter actually decided she wanted to be a pitcher, so we found a young woman who had pitched, was pitching in college, and she got some lessons from her, and I learned some things from that. And it was really hard to. You can find instructors all over the place today, but that was not easy to do in the late '90s.
No, I can't imagine. I pitched in high school at Highlands. I wasn't great, but love the pitching philosophy and theory behind it. I have never, ever been able to even fathom the mechanics of a fast pitch softball player. Can you explain? You're not a physician, you're not a physical therapist, but can you, in layman's terms, kind of explain to me and the listeners out there why a softball pitcher who throws underhanded, fast pitch, is able to physically throw so many more pitches than a baseball pitcher throwing overhand?
Well, if you think about the release point of a baseball, which is your shoulders extended, your arms extended up. So that strain on your rotator cuff at that release point is a whole lot different than when you're releasing at your hip.
Yeah,
So, and I am not a physician in any way, shape, or form. I'm basically parroting what some other people have explained to me,
sure.
but there are no pitch limits, inning limits, or anything like that in softball. And we've seen a couple of elbow issues. But in the 25 years I've been doing this, I haven't seen shoulder issues.
Yeah.
So it really does come down to physical mechanics. It's just not as hard on your shoulder, which is where most of the baseball injuries come from. Obviously, the UCL, the Tommy John surgeries are an issue as well, but I think most of the issues that come from baseball pitchers is shoulder related.
Mm-hmm. I've tried to do it, and it's comical. I could kill someone. They don't know it's coming to throw underhanded like those pitchers do. Do you try, or have you tried, or have you mastered it?
I have not even come close to mastering it. I'd be lying if I said I did. There were times before there were a lot of pitching machines and other techniques to simulate pitching that I would try to do it for batting practice, but I am not even close to mastering it. It takes the very first clinic I went to, the instructor of the clinic said it takes 20,000 pitches to develop the muscle memory to be able to even duplicate the motion. So that's 200 days of 100 pitches.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if that's still a philosophy or not.
Yeah.
I know that it takes a whole lot of work outside of what you can do for your high school team's practice.
Yeah.
In order to be an excellent fast pitch pitcher.
It's quite a phenomenon. You, as I said, I got sidetracked. Let's get back to you in Highlands. So you coached several years as a volunteer assistant. How many years, if you can remember?
I think I was a volunteer for the first 10 or 12.
Okay.
I coached when Jess was in high school. Kevin Neaporti was the high school coach then, and he sort of coaxed me into staying on when Jessica graduated. So I stayed on. I was still working full time. So it was, at that point, I was there when I could be.
Sure.
And then after Jessica graduated from UK, she and her husband, Jake, actually took over the program for 5 years.
Oh, really?
So I was not going to leave when they were coaching.
Right.
And then opted to stay in 2013 when Rob Coffey took over. And after he left, I've been the head coach since mid 2019.
Okay, so this will be your 7th year. Some regional championships you've brought home, correct?
Correct. We won the region in 22, 23, and 24.
Back to back to back.
Back to back to back. And we had also won in 2014 and 2016. We had a pretty good 10-year stretch.
I mean, I don't think there's any secret to your success, but what are some of the values that you and the previous coaches you were involved with have kind of instilled with the Highlands softball program that has led to such success over the past several years?
Well, I think that there's a philosophy in general at Highlands of excellence. And when you can build something up and have success, building on that success is easier than the first time getting there.
Sure.
Getting there is the hard part. Staying there is sometimes even harder.
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues that we have, and this is, I'm president of the Northern Kentucky softball coaches, and we talk about this all the time, the pipeline of young boys playing baseball in probably, and I'm more familiar with Northern Kentucky, I assume Greater Cincinnati is the same and probably a lot over the rest of the country. The pipeline of those boys is many times greater than the pipeline of young girls.
Yeah.
Some of that is that since fast pitch started in 95 in Kentucky, you don't have a whole lot of moms who played fast pitch whose daughters are now old enough to play fast pitch.
Sure. That makes sense.
So unlike you and me who played high school baseball, dads might have played high school baseball. So naturally our sons were going to at least be somewhat interested in it. And the youth programs are significantly greater for boys. So one of the things that myself and other coaches have to do is locate those young girls that either A, have an interest, or B, may already be playing some, and encourage them to keep playing softball by helping them work on their skills, by letting them be bat girls at ball games, by letting them play on the quote unquote big field for their championship games, and just getting them excited about playing softball. I mean, we had for 3 years in a row that when we were in the state tournament at UK, we had a group of young girls who were sitting in the first row behind the plate watching us play. Well, what better recruiting video can you create than having a 9-year-old girl sitting in the front row watching these girls that she looks up to play at UK?
Yeah.
So that has helped us build. We actually have 10 seventh graders in the program this year, which is the most we've had for quite a number of years, probably 10 years. It's the most we've had.
Yeah.
So that's success building upon success is a measure of building the program.
Yeah.
But probably our biggest issue is finding the girls who really do want to play, just because, and it's also a little bit, it's a harder sport that you can start playing soccer when you're 4 years old, just running around kicking the ball.
Right.
And then grow into that. And that's softball. You got to learn to catch the ball. You got to learn to hit the ball. And that's really hard to do at 4.
Right.
So a lot of times, a lot of the really good athletes have already quote unquote chosen their sport when they're 8 years old.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing it for a while. So that's a little bit challenging, especially without the year-round softball that you can play in Florida or California,
Right.
where a lot of the names of the girls that you see playing in the College World Series, which is quite an exciting venue and event. Many of them are coming from the warm weather cities where you don't have to worry about playing in 42 degrees like we did last night.
Right. This episode is brought to you by Maria, Whalen, and Bravenly. If you're training hard, working long hours, or just trying to stay sharp day in and day out, Bravenly is something that's becoming a part of the daily routine for a lot of people. Bravenly is an all-natural, holistic, plant-based wellness company designed to support men and women of all ages, whether you're an athlete, weekend warrior, or just trying to feel and perform better. Their supplements are made with clean ingredients and no artificial colors, dyes, or flavorings, just thoughtfully sourced formulas that support real energy, recovery, focus, digestion, and overall balance. Bravenly isn't about quick fixes or stimulants. It's about fueling your body the right way so you can train harder, recover smarter, and show up stronger. If you're looking for a clean, effective way to support your body, check out Maria's website at mariawhalenglowup.bravenlyglobal.com. Well, I think over the years, especially during the time that you've coached at Highlands, the interest level and amount of girls that have gotten involved seems to have increased. But just recently, women's baseball is now kind of blowing up, I guess, for a lack of a better term. You've got now a new professional league and several other opportunities for women to play baseball. It's probably too early to tell, but do you see that, or do you fear that interest increasing in baseball to hurt the softball side of things?
I haven't seen that really start to happen yet, Joe. That doesn't mean it couldn't over time.
Yeah.
I think if that had 30 years ago, if that had a big following, maybe it would have grown. I think the College World Series is a big deal, and certainly with streaming capabilities, etc., it's pretty easy to get excited about watching Tennessee's pitcher throw as hard as she can throw. And I think you have enough interest. Now, is there room for both? I would think so. In fact, when I was coaching knot-hole baseball, I had a couple of girls that played for me through 6th grade because there really wasn't anything else I could do. And a lot of the skill, obviously the pitching skill doesn't translate, but most of the fielding skills translate. And the swing is very similar. There are some things we try to teach in softball, which is probably a shorter swing, just because of the shorter distance, etc. And certainly softball can move in directions that a baseball can't when you're throwing from underneath versus overhead. But still, the basic mechanics is you versus the pitcher, you with a bat in your hand, the pitcher with a ball in their hand.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that that's very similar. So that the skills translate. In fact, some of our really good early players had played baseball growing up.
Yeah.
Anna Greenwell, who's playing as a shortstop at Thomas More, I don't think she started even touched playing softball till she was in sixth grade. She played baseball up until then.
Olivia Brecker, who her dad and I were partners over at Champions Baseball Academy. She's now going to be part of the new professional baseball league. She's been on the podcast, and it's a really popular, increasing thing right now, and I think it's great. And I hope you're right that there are enough women out there to play both, because the more the merrier. And heck, the men, they play softball. It's not fast pitch as much as it is, slow pitch. And usually they're doing it with a cold beer in the dugout, and that's a whole different realm.
Yeah.
But I hope there's enough for it to go around.
Yeah, I think that it's got a strong enough footing, if you will, now.
Yeah.
That I think it would be pretty hard to displace it. But I mean, let's face it, 15 years from now, who knows?
Sure. Yep. And I hope you and I are around 15 years from now so we can talk about this again.
Yes, exactly.
If my podcast is still going that long, then I'm doing something right. So I appreciate that. We could talk about so many different facets of the game, but I know your time is limited, and I want to get a little bit into the Highlands, I guess, program. And last year, I do recall it was somewhat of a heartbreaker. You guys were in the regional tournament, and I think the championship was a tough one. I believe you lost to Holy Cross.
That's correct.
If you want to just recap, if it's not too painful, just exactly what happened to refresh the memory of my listeners if they don't know already.
Well, we were actually up with 2 outs in the top of the seventh, leading 3-1. And a young lady from Holy Cross hit a grand slam, and they ended up winning 5-3. We were within one strike of winning 2 different times.
Boy.
Give a lot of credit to them. They hung in there. We had a couple of atom balls that if they'd fallen for hits, we might have had a bigger lead.
Yeah.
Caitlin gave up 2 home runs in 635 batters last year, and that happened to be one of
them. Yeah. She's a phenomenal pitcher, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's a senior this year?
She's a senior. I actually have 4 seniors this year who all will be playing in college.
Great. Taking a loss like that is never easy, whether it's in the regular season, much less in the regional championship. If you can remember, and if you don't mind telling us, what did you say to the girls after the game to try to keep their spirits high and just avoid just a complete meltdown of what they just experienced?
It's really tough to come up with the right words. And what I said may have not been the right words, but I said when you had one senior last year, obviously very tough for her, but I was looking at 15 other girls who were coming back, and I said, remember this, and we got to work hard enough to be able to overcome something like this in the future.
Yeah.
We had just beat Notre Dame, who was in the semifinals, which was a really tough game. They played us tough for a couple of years in a row. We beat them in the finals the year before. So we accomplished a lot last year, but we didn't accomplish our main goal. So I congratulated them on a good year, and I said, I'm willing to get back to work, and I hope you guys are too. And they really have over the fall and winter. I think we've worked harder than we've ever worked before.
Sometimes failure and loss breeds motivation. I wouldn't say that you failed last year, but the other team succeeded, and it's been a great run, and hopefully it'll be another good run this year. You've got 4 seniors. Caitlin Dixon, we already mentioned. Who are the other 3 that are coming back for the season?
Peyton Brown, who's our catcher, who's going to NKU. Cam Marcus is our center fielder, and she's going to go join her sister at Kentucky Wesleyan. And Morgan Pompilio, who's the second baseman, is going to be going to the College of Central Florida.
All 4 seniors going to take their game to the next level. That's impressive.
Hasn't happened before where we've had all that many seniors. We've had 2 seniors who both went and played. We never had 4.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Who are some of the underclassmen that you think might contribute? I'm sure all of them you would like them to, but who are some that seem to stand out already in your mind?
Well, we have 4 others who are returning starters. Allie Myers is our junior third baseman. This is our fourth year starting. And then we have three sophomores who are back. Layla Zepp, who's a shortstop. Bailey Class, who's a left fielder and was also the goalie on the state runner-up soccer team.
Yeah.
And her cousin, Kate Class, who is returning as the right fielder.
Well, I hate to use the proverbial phrase, but it sounds like you might have a target on your back this year.
I think we have realistically for the last several years since we,
Yeah.
When you win three in a row, obviously it's no matter what sport you're playing, if you're at the top, other people want to get to the top.
Yep.
So that definitely exists. And I think the girls know that's the case.
Yep. Well, I think it's a good feeling, and yet it sometimes works to your disadvantage. You're always going to be someone that others are aiming to, portray and emulate, which is a compliment, but they're always going to bring their A game when they play Highlands. And sometimes that works out to your disadvantage because, oftentimes teams that may not be on the same level as you out of the blue will play at the same level and they might pull out a victory against you. But you know what? A regular season is where you develop and then get ready for the districts and the regionals. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I put together a pretty challenging schedule this year for exactly that reason. We're going to Fort Walton Beach and playing over spring break and playing some tough teams.
Nice.
We've entered a couple of other tournaments that are full of tough teams. So, and with the lights that we got installed last week, we have a number of tough teams coming to Fort Thomas to play us, which is pretty exciting because we've never been able to do that before. We have Woodford County coming on Friday night, and normally they wouldn't be able to get here in time to play a weeknight game, but with the lights, we can have that kind of game.
That's wonderful. Well, having a nice facility is an absolute advantage for those that do, and I think it's improving across northern Kentucky with fields being installed and lights, like you said, at your field. So any advice for parents out there that might be listening with young girls who may be somewhat interested in softball? Are there some organizations out there that you know of that you could suggest they reach out to, or you in particular, or how do they get involved to maybe get their girls to try out the sport of softball and see if they like it?
There are several youth rec leagues in northern Kentucky. Out of the Campbell County Rural Knothole, there is one. There's a youth organization in Boone and Kenton County, and there are a number of locally headquartered summer. In softball, we call it travel softball versus because AAU doesn't sponsor it, so it's not like AAU basketball that are headquartered out of northern Kentucky. One is like headquartered out of it's a Y'all's program, and they get to play some of their games at the stadium out there.
Okay.
So there are a number of places that you can go. There are a lot of high school girls that'll give lessons for give inexpensive lessons, or sometimes they'll do them for free just to be nice to their young siblings and friends.
Mm-hmm.
I highly encourage people to bring their daughters to come see games.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot more realistic if you see somebody that you know playing a game and being successful at it.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, not because I'm a former Bluebird and Highlands alum am I saying best of luck to you. I mean it. I say that to all the coaches and teams out there because I want to see them succeed. And at the end of the day, I think Northern Kentucky is a hotbed for athletes, and I don't think they get enough credit for the success that they have and the way that they move on to the next level. You're exhibit A when it comes to that argument, and that you've got four seniors all going to take it to the next level and play in college. And I think that's wonderful. It's a true testament to their hard work and effort, and to you as a coach and your assistant coaches and anybody involved in the program. So it says a lot about everyone, how they dedicate the time and commitment to help these young women become better softball players and human beings overall, because that's the ultimate goal when you coach kids, is to make them better people.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, you and I'm sure we both agree on that. Athletics help make me who I am, and I certainly help my kids and I think it's helped a lot of the kids that I've coached. So I think that's ultimately the goal.
Yep, I agree. Milt, you're a great man. I enjoyed speaking with you, whether it's about baseball, softball, or anything else. I appreciate your time today. And again, I wish you the best of luck and to the Highlands Bluebirds as they take the field each and every game.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.